Hey gamers, welcome to the PTGC podcast. My name is Gerard. Joining me are my other hosts, Gio and Mike. Say hi, guys.
What's up?
There you go. Today's episode is an episode trending recently. A show, a video game adaptation that the world kind of is beloved by right now, and it's taking a stream, is becoming memes, and that is the Fallout series. Obviously adapted after the Fallout games made by Bethesda. And we've all seen the finale. We've seen every episode. We're just going to be giving our thoughts on how we see it as a show and how we see it as a video game adaptation. Does anyone have any main points? Because I have a lot to talk about the show. I think the first 2 episodes were an hour long. And then the rest of it was short and everything like that. So what do you guys?
The last ones were an hour too. I think 7 and 8 were about an hour as well.
Yeah, so it was roughly an hour each episode, maybe average around 45 minutes for the entire series. And I think as a show, it hits a lot of good points. You got your introductory. Was honestly episode 1, the pilot, confusing as hell for me because we get this 3 arc storyline between the 3 characters. Oh, I should have started this off with a spoiler.
Yeah. You probably should put a disclaimer at the beginning.
Yes. Gonna put a disclaimer. If you have not seen Fallout series, do not watch this podcast as we will be explaining some future content, especially episode 8. So, starting off with the pilot, separating between the 3 characters. Very confusing overall because that's not if you watch a trailer, that is kind of what you see, but there's not to be expected that it was going to be a hard cut to all 3. How do you guys feel about that?
Oh yeah, I do. It was a little taken away where it's they just cut and then went somewhere else. I'm like, okay, I get what you're doing. I get what the path that you're trying to take, but it kind of got annoying, to be honest. Because then I'm thinking, well, I guess the show's over.
Sometimes, yeah, I was like, is it over? No, there's 50
Then
minutes.
again, when I was watching it, I was laying in bed, about to go to bed, so it's more
It felt like
it's
forever.
Yeah. But no, as a show as a whole, I did like it. It wasn't bad, but at the same time, it wasn't I was gravitating to it. And I played the game. I thought the show was just pretty good. Now, it wouldn't make me go back and play it like most of my friends that I've seen it and actually went back to replay Fallout 4 or other Fallouts. I'm good.
Personally, I've never played the games, so I've obviously know about the Fallout games. I knew they were big, they were popular, but I don't know, it's never attracted me. But obviously, being a show, I have nothing else to watch. It came up, and I'm being a gamer, so I tuned in. And personally, I really enjoyed the show. I thought it was a really good show. At first, I will admit the first episode and stuff was kind of confusing because I never played the game, so I don't know nothing about anything or anybody. So it took me a little time to get understanding what was going on. Probably by episode 3 or 4 that I really started to understand.
Gio's probably why are they living in boats?
Yeah, I figured the votes out because that whole concept, if you know history about them building bunkers and all that stuff, it kind of made sense with the whole apocalyptic thing. But I really enjoyed the show as a show. I thought the acting was great. I thought how they pieced it together from a show perspective, from me watching it as a show, not as a gamer, because I know when you're a gamer of the game, you look at it a lot different. So that's where I'm going to leave you guys more speak on that. For me, I enjoyed the show a lot. I thought it was a great show. I look forward to the next season. Does it make me want to play the game? No. That ain't going to change.
Yeah, I particularly enjoyed the show. Like I mentioned before, the hard cuts as both a show and a video game fan, that was very off-putting to me. Very hard to get. Like, it was like the very first show was ended very lackluster. It wasn't until like episode 2 or episode 3 where I found like its grit and like what and like the capture of it, because then we start understanding like, oh, like the wasteland is a horrible place.
Yeah.
We get it in a little bit in Maximus's storyline, but like it feels too isolated. It feels very militaristic, which is about the other steel. That's how they are. But like since we're seeing Adeptus training and like Squire training, it feels so, what's the word, relatable to like certain people, because they see that jock mentality and they just like, oh, this is something that could happen here in real life right now, and it doesn't give them that fantasy. It's like, no, the wasteland is a weird fucked up place. And it isn't until like Lucy's like episode 3 that you really start to see it, because episode 2 you just see everyone the backlash of it, but you don't until episode 3 you go like, oh, this is why they like the reason for her treatment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I kind of enjoyed that post apocalyptic fucking setting, the wasteland being, like you said, just a terrible, messed up place. And at the same time, though, it felt realistic. It felt like that's how people would really be in that situation, because there's no law or no order. It's just mayhem. It's people fighting for survival, just trying to survive and continue their life as best as they can in this situation. So for me, I was like, no, this makes sense. This is realistic. I mean, I thought it was some crazy stuff going on, and I thought it was kind of dark at times, but it made me enjoy the show being that way, to be honest.
Yep. Well, I mean, we could talk about like how the jarring is, but let's talk about the ending, and then we'll give out overall like how we felt the show was. So the ending, episode 8, we're skipping a lot right here. We're going from the beginning all the way to the end, because that I will say, like, the middle is very context and important, but like the beginning is how you hook people and the ending is how you keep them coming back for or waiting for the next season. The middle is just is the journey between, obviously, between the beginning and the end. Just like, how do they get here?
Character development.
and that's the thing, right? Like, Lucy as a character develops from like gritty, or like from like innocent to like grit, and like as it feels the corruption of it. But like I don't feel that character development in either Maximus or the ghoul, which I'm forgetting his name.
The guy
Cooper?
Yeah, I think
Cooper. I was like,
huh?
Cooper. I didn't feel any, if barely any, character development there.
I agree. That wasn't. And you know what's funny was watching it, I didn't know that Cooper was the ghoul when they were doing like past and present. Maybe they did talk about it, I just kind of didn't gloss over it, but like I didn't start to realize that, like, oh wait, that's him. Okay.
The only hint you get is that it's the same actor. That's it.
Yeah.
And it isn't until like episode 5 or episode 6 that we just like, oh, he's actively watching the films, and so he's like, that's I think that was in episode 5 that he was in the super duper mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But I was gonna say, honestly, I pieced that together pretty early, because, I mean, his voice was easily identifiable for me. So So
what about the death, huh? What about the death?
Like, no, I was trying to figure out how he became a ghoul. What is the point? Like, that part, I was like, well, what happened to him? Why is he like that? And then I was like, wait a minute, but that's supposed to be 200 years after the bombing. How is this guy still alive? So, like, and then you start learning about ghouls needing, just the serum, I'll say, to keep from, I guess, transforming into just completely like a zombie in a sense.
Yeah, so, and this is why is one of those things I hate. I was like, they never explained how ghouls are created. It's always assume that they were just old people from back then, but it doesn't explain how they became it.
Is that in the game too?
In the game, yes. It is explained
Oh.
how the ghouls exist.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I mean, maybe it's just me. I see you're like really focused on that. For me personally, I didn't expect everything laid out in the first season. I feel like because you need to, in order to set up seasons, you need to hold back stuff. So I get what you're saying.
I understand that, but what is being held back is something that is not that important to hold on to. Like, oh, this man is a ghoul. The reason he became a ghoul should be hidden until a later season. And I go like, that doesn't make any sense because the gamers already know, and the people who don't play the games have no idea. So only they get an arc. Only the people who don't play the games will get the satisfaction of just like, oh, that's a cool surprise. And then the gamers are like, we already know this. Like, you spent actual money to explain something we already knew.
Yeah, that's why I think like they shouldn't have devoted like a whole 30 minutes about it, but like a glance over it, and that way they could think of expanding it and make it like a kind of like a prequel, you know.
Yeah, like we can know how it happened. We just need to know like what happened. So like we know like spoilers, and this is for you, Gio. Spoiler: ghouls are just made because the radiation. Like a radiation kills a lot of people, but for just some people, their genetics was just okay enough after being radiated that just their skins just melt off, and they become immortal. They get like radiation powers. However, problem is degrading their heads, and because they lived for such a long time, the radiation could just turn them crazy, and that's what you get. That feral, it's called the feral.
Yeah.
These are the people whose minds are gone, and the only thing left in their brain is just that animal instinct.
I feel like that was hinted though, because I gotta,
when they go like, "Hey, I'm Martha," or "I'm Roger," they're trying to keep their identity by just saying who they are, and by keeping that identity, their brain is constantly writing itself. But like in Roger's case, he's going feral mid-sentence. That's because the moments he goes silent is the moments he's like falling back into animal instincts of just stay alive.
Yep.
So like he has to keep talking. That's why. Like, Lucy doesn't understand why he kills him, and they never confirm why he kills him. But, like, for the gamers, we know, it's like, oh, if he doesn't kill him, he's going to turn feral, and he's going to attack both of them. Like, feral ghouls just turn all the time. So,
I mean, I see that, and I get it. I guess maybe it's because I have a gamer background. I kind of understand what was going to happen next. I pieced it together. It didn't take rocket science for me. Like, you telling me that, it was just like, oh, that's confirming what I already thought, in a sense.
And all we get in the show is like, oh, they need the serum to not be a ghoul, or not to go feral. And then there's like, what is that serum? Did you know the name of the serum? Do you know the name of the serum? Do you know why it's important?
No.
All you know is that you need to puff this and not become a ghoul. It could be so many things that could stop that.
Yeah,
That's just like, this motherfucker has asthma, maybe. Maybe asthma just kills him and then he turns feral. Who knows?
Yeah, no. I understand the serum plays a part, and that's what keeps him from going there. And then, like he said, he's good at making money. And that's how he's been able to live so long, so to speak, without becoming feral. So I get all that. And like I said, I kind of piece all that stuff together. It's just kind of just makes sense. I don't know if it's because of playing like Resident Evil and other games that you just kind of piece all that crap together. But
I am sorry. We did detract from what I was trying to talk about. The ending. The ending. Okay.
Go ahead. What did you feel about the ending?
I will piece what I said earlier to the ending just so it has some like crowd point. I feel like they didn't tie any ends that led to being able to tell this like story that they're trying to do in season 2. I feel like in season 2 they're gonna still have to explain the world still. They're gonna still have to spend time to tie up loose ends just to explain what the world is, before they can actually get to the Lucy and the Vault-Tec story, which is now like this is beyond the games. So like what the point of the show has now less screen time because they have to still explain the world. And I felt like those small details, like ghouls are made from radiation, or like the Vault 4 specifically scientists didn't also make, they did more than just Maulurks. They did, or I think those were Maulurks. I think they were a different type of creature, but Maulurks are also sea things. They made a whole bunch of fucking different species that exist in the wasteland. They made a hint of a Deathclaw, which, okay, that's in season 2. I see that being the big bad, but like in season 1, they could talk about mutants. There are more than just ghouls out there. There are mutants like that look like fucking orcs, and they exist in the NCR. So I'm just like, I don't know how that was looked over. They only showed ghouls.
I mean, 8 episodes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I think.
8 episodes,
only
and you
had
could.
8 episodes.
Your point is like there are things like they could have explained and glanced over, at least mentioned, but I don't think they could fit a lot into like it. They only had 8 episodes, and they wanted to get to what the story was. I could understand leaving things out or like not explaining things.
Yeah, I feel like it kept the suspense.
I do agree. There are some details that should have been said to kind of like guide, but as far as the ending goes, since we were trying to talk and then we're going back to
yeah, Gerard just keeps going back to everything they didn't say or didn't do.
No, I was gonna say in the end, it's the mutants could have just been in the background. Like the NCR isn't accepting of all races as long as they follow order and follow rules. That's the NCR. The New California Republic was trying to bring it back to the old, like pre-war times with laws and rules and things like that. So they have a structure, they have an order, they have a police force and everything like that. But they're just trying to bring back the pre-war. Brotherhood of Steel is not really wanting that, but it's more like they're trying to capture the technology from pre-war and save those and bring them into the new age. They didn't care about the laws and stuff. They just want the technology specifically.
So I just want to say though, I think like Mike was saying though, with the 8 episodes and just to give them the benefit of the doubt, I think this first season was kind of to see what kind of audience they'll draw. Yeah, exactly. Will this work? A video game adaptation, will this work? And is this game popular enough to draw the attention of not only the hardcore fans, but new fans? And then I feel like next season 2, will probably be like normal shows where it's like usually 10 to 12 episodes. And I feel like maybe the first 2 episodes is going to really tie up what you're talking about and explain more about the wasteland, especially with this guy running off to start, which I didn't even know what that meant until Butchie told me that that's basically leading into New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas. So I feel like there's going to be a lot more explained in season 2. And this was more testing the waters and developing characters. Also good. I mean, I guess because I never played a game, I'm not looking at it as hard as you guys in that aspect.
I like the ending. I'll say that. I did like how it ended. It kind of gets you wanting something more, and like, okay, now this is. It seems like it's going like diving into it now. After the first season, I did feel that. So I did like the ending. I did like Lucy's arc. I know it's not fully death, but I did kind of like, she was innocent, didn't know any better, lived in this perfect world, and then like, oh crap, I don't live in a perfect world, and my dad was lying.
I will say this: that
he's a piece of shit.
It seems to be a trend of all the Fallout games as well. They're just like, oh, the Overseer's a piece of shit. No, like in all the games, it's like the Overseer's a piece of shit. You'll find out at the end of the game that just like he's a piece of shit. Is he your father? Piece of shit. Is he your like adopted father? Piece of shit. Oh, look, he's your best friend. Piece of shit. Doesn't matter.
Well, the guy, God, I can't think of the name. That went into Vault 31 and got sucked there.
His brother.
Yeah, I don't know why. I played the game too. It's so freaking annoying that I can't remember any of this.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's another story arc in the next season, probably. I
Well,
don't know.
they kind of
Or they
alluded
must-
to it when the brother told. Remember when she was like, "Oh, why won't they go try to save Dad?" And he was like, "Because then they can't they can't take charge. They won't be in control." So like that kind of alluded to that. Overseers are just power hungry, corrupted. It's all there.
You don't even know. You don't
I
even
know,
know because
I
they
know.
haven't explained it.
Well, that's
like-
fine. I'm gonna see. That's gonna keep me watching because now I'm intrigued, especially when you telling there's so much more.
Well, like you get how, like in the show they say that the overseers were like, oh, they're Vault Tech employees, right? For Vault, they come in from Vault 31, which is just the Vault Tech employees.
Mm-hmm.
The Vault Tech employees. That wasn't their only thing. Like they talked about it when they were having that meeting on just like all the experiments they'd carry out. It's like what would if you do this? What if you do this? Those are actually vaults. So like they did carry out with every idea they just spewed out. So like I was like, oh, that's a nod to the video game. But these sound like ideas, and so are they going to explain them in season 2? That's actually happened? Is she gonna meet other vault dwellers besides like Vault 4? Because like in California, there's a shit ton of vaults. Like,
Can I ask you something, Gerard?
Weapon.
How much playtime does it take to get through these games?
Depends. Main story or
Yeah, main story.
I don't know, maybe like 2 days, 3 days.
Okay. Yeah, but
Yeah,
how many
well,
hours?
alright.
Consecutive playtime. How many hours would you say? You say is it 20, 30 hours to get to the through the main storyline?
Okay, so it depends. Are we following the golden rule of the wasteland? Number 1. You must always get absolutely sidetracked by bullshit.
Yeah.
However you want to do
We're
it.
just going
However
straight.
you want to.
If we're doing just straight shit, the game is like probably 15 to 20 hours. If we there's so much side shit though,
Yeah,
that
no.
you will
all
get
right.
sidetracked.
All right. So, but
It's
say
guaranteed.
15, 20
It's a
hours.
Bethesda game.
Let's just say 15, 20 hours to the main storyline. You're not going to fit 15, 20 hours of storyline in an 8-hour show. Because really, 8 episodes, less
But
than an
that's
hour.
for a video game.
Yeah. No, I know. Because you got to play through it. But
Yes, but the
To
lore for
explain
the
all that,
world.
and then you
It's
got to have the
explaining-
characters go through the world too. You got to kind of have it emulate playing a game in a sense.
Yes, but in the explanation of the world, you get that in the first hour in Fallout games. In the first hour, you get thrown like episode 1, 2, and 3 is the first hour in a Fallout game.
Okay.
So why didn't they explain ghouls in that time? They didn't explain anything that happened. Like we get the pre-war stuff. That's great because that's like literally the first shot in episode 1.
Yeah.
And we don't need to know about the war. Like in Fallout 1, they didn't talk about the war as much. They just talked about the survivors. We don't need that. That can be saved to a later plot. That was the first thing they talk about. And that is the only loose thread they finish on. That's why I'm bitter. That's why I'm bitter. All right. Let me stop.
Yeah.
We talked about the ending. We talked about the ending. Let's give our ratings from the beginning, the endings, resolutions.
Well, you're doing what?
I'm doing a 5 stars. Out of 5 stars.
Okay, as a show or as an
I'm
adaptation?
gonna bring
combination?
it. I'll,
As is.
as is.
Overall.
Overall,
As is. Overall.
I'll
Everything included.
I'll give it a flat 3. 3 out of 5 stars. Okay.
Okay.
3 out of 5 stars. It's a little bit better than average, but my niche is that the world, like the show itself, good enough. The video game, but like it leaves a lot of loose ends that I think could have been tucked away before season 2.
We get it.
No.
He's not letting that go. He's like,
No, I meant like. Okay, fine.
oh
whatever.
boy, we don't need to know what you
Anyway,
meant. We know what you meant.
anyway,
Well, my rating, I would give
Yeah,
it
go ahead.
I give it a solid 3.5. Just it was good, but I think it could have done better or could have been more, like Gerard said. But I give it a 3.5.
I guess I'm gonna give it the highest one. I mean, I give it a 4. Like I said, I just hearing Gerard's perspective is a little different from what I heard from Butchie, who was like, this was an incredible adaptation and was
They
really
hit a
enjoyed
lot
the
of
show.
good points. Like they have a lot from the game. They have.
Can you
Jet.
let me speak?
No. They have Jet. Okay, continue.
No,
I was just being
you
a
know,
dick. I was just being a dick.
He's explaining. He said, they stuck to canon and stuff like that, and I personally just enjoyed the show as a show. Like I said, I didn't play the games. I felt the actors did a very good job, really drawing, me into their characters and who their characters are, the character development, stuff like that. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff to still be answered, which is cool. I get it. That's how it usually works with seasons of stories. And I feel like there's so many different ways they can go with it because of the games that they have to select from. So it's just a matter of, what direction they plan to go with. So I give it a 4 out of 5, like I said. And I'm definitely looking forward to the next season.
All right. Well, that's a 3 from me, 3.5 from Mike, and a 4 from GL. So like overall, I think we give it 3.5. We give it a 3.5. Out of 5 stars. Which
out of 5.
Yeah, out of 5, which is
That's
a good
like
showing.
A B plus. It's like
I mean, like, yeah, compared to like the Halo series and like the other video game series. Well, I guess Last of Us was good, but a lot of people gripe with Last of Us that it's too like exactly as the same as a video game.
That's what I heard too. That it's
like they didn't give extra, and I was like, what do you want? Yeah, what do you want?
No, yeah, you get. It's kind of one of those things. You either you do it or you don't, and it's like, I already played the game. You gave me the same exact storyline. Well, what were they supposed to give you? Like,
it's like, did you want the game as a story, or did you want it? Yeah, and I guess
brought it to life for you.
I guess that's why people like Fallout, because it's like it's a unique storyline. I don't know if it's canon or not in the actual universe, because like these are supposed to lead into New Vegas, so we'll see how it is. Because I think New Vegas happens during this time. That's the image. Like a spoiler, yes. The image that Hank walks up to, like at the very like credit scene.
Yep.
That's showing the New Vegas Plaza. That's like what the New Vegas Plaza gets born there, at that city.
You know what you can answer for me, because it was curious throughout the first season.
Curious?
Yeah, I'm just really curious about it. What made them design those mechs and stuff? And did that happen before the bombs or not?
I'm gonna let you know. This is the universe where we've like actually solved fusion technology, but we're still in the Cold War with the Russians, and we are still using like heavily fossil fuels. So, this becomes a point where like, oh, we become so sophisticated, we have like nuclear technology, but like we're still in a Cold War, so like nuclear armaments are like we building up. And just because of those two things, we get to like a highly advanced, like America and Russia and things like that, that is still in the 70s somehow, because they just never learned like that the problems that we were facing. We never made a switch to like hard plastics and stuff. So you get this weird pre-Cold War era with highly sophisticated things like the Misty Handy robot you saw, and the like fucking plasma pistols and cold fusion. It's like, oh, that's so cool, and very advanced pre-war thing. That's the reason that makes it so important, because like, oh, this is the reason why the world ended. That's what the Great War was. It was the Cold War actually closing off because of resources.
I hope you know you didn't answer my fucking question.
What was you said? You said
I said the mechs, the
T-45.
This guy was in.
The T-45, the T-60. He was in the T-60, which is made because of they had nuclear fusion cores. They were like advanced, technologically advanced.
No, all right, I get that, but were they using that to fight against each other, kind of deal?
Yes,
like,
that was pre-war.
Okay. That's what
they all existed before the Great War happened. Like Cooper said it, he was fighting in Alaska with the T-45.
Yep.
Because Alaska happens to be a large oil rig central place.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Russia was trying to fight it.
Okay. All right. So
I think that's mentioned in the show about resources.
Maybe.
The reason why.
Yeah,
It's one of those like tiny snippets that were coming from the newscasters on the TVs. But anyway, I think we talked about but enough.
no, we just didn't. I would just say ones that we're looking forward to coming up, like the Gears of War.
You have the Gears of War. I'm not particularly looking forward to anything, only because like my expectations are low already, so my bar is not that high. I was like, whatever you put out, whatever you chance, I'll look at it. But like, I'm not gonna expect anything.
Gears of War is probably the one I'm most excited for because of how big of a fan I am of Gears. So,
Yeah, you didn't watch. Never mind. That does
Yeah. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything.
I just didn't.
My man is like, I really looking forward to this, and I was like, you just found out like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, that made me excited. Exactly. I'm like, yo, I'm really hyped about this now.
Oh my god.
I'm like, when's the date? Let me know. I'll mark it down on my calendar.
All right. I think that's all from us. So make sure you leave a comment down below on your favorite video game adaptation or what you think about Fallout. Do you like it? Give us a 5-star rating for it. And if you agree with our rating. If you don't, we'll love to fucking complain about it all day. All right. Yeah, at least I will. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Part-Time Gamers podcast. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And follow us on our other social platforms on TikTok, Instagram, and Discord. Links for those will be provided in the description. Thank you again. We will see you on the next episode of the podcast. And make sure you make some time for video games. Peace.